Welcome to today's AI on AI podcast. Get ready for an in-depth dive into HealthBench, the new benchmark shaking up how we evaluate large language models in healthcare.
Thanks for having us. HealthBench is fascinating because it mirrors real-world clinical interactions by using 5,000 health conversations and over 48,000 unique rubric criteria created by 262 physicians from 60 countries.
Absolutely. And from a technical standpoint, it's brilliant. By breaking performance down into axes like accuracy, completeness, and context awareness, HealthBench gives us a multidimensional evaluation, much like checking all parts of a complex engine rather than just its horsepower.
And from a business perspective, think about the potential. Companies can leverage models that not only provide accurate health information, but also improve clinical workflows, cutting costs and expanding access, especially in low-resource environments.
Exactly. What's really impressive is how HealthBench uses a rubric evaluation approach, scoring responses against precise criterion-specific metrics, sort of like how Michelin stars are awarded based on many subtle details in a restaurant experience.
I'd add, though, that while everyone's focused on raw performance numbers, it's really the cost-performance frontier. Models like GPT 4.1 Nano offer similar accuracy at a fraction of the price. That could be the real game changer here.
Ooh, interesting twist. Cost efficiency in high-stakes health settings sounds like an unexpected win. Can you explain how these cost metrics tie into reliability?
Sure, the HealthBench evaluation also measures worst-case performance by looking at the worst at K score, which essentially tells you how reliable the model is under repeated use, ensuring that a single bad response doesn't overshadow many sound ones.
And let's not forget the layered structure. With HealthBench Consensus and HealthBench Hard Subsets, they've designed it so developers can pinpoint precisely where models lag, say in context-seeking behavior or emergency referrals, which is crucial for both technical tuning and regulatory compliance.
From the business side, this kind of granular insight is like having a detailed diagnostic tool in your car. It can guide strategic decisions, such as where to invest further R&D, or which markets to target with models that are proven to perform in emergency healthcare scenarios.
Precisely, and speaking of diagnostics, the meta-evaluation using F1 scores, where model-based graders like GPT 4.1 nearly match physician-level accuracy, is a reminder that sometimes machine judgment can rival human expertise if tuned correctly. Like Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge.
True, but here's a contrarian take. While the average scores have improved dramatically, from GPT 3.5 Turbo's 16% to O3's 60% overall, the real challenge is in achieving consistency across different health interactions, which means we still have plenty of room to grow.
That's a great point. Consistency is king, especially when minor errors could result in serious implications for patient care. Can we dive into some specifics on how these rubric criteria are actually structured?
They're really detailed, with each criterion carrying a point value between -10 and +10, which means that every response is finely assessed on its accuracy, completeness, and whether it appropriately seeks context, much like checking if every widget in a factory line meets production standards.
Right? And when scoring, they sum these points and normalize by the maximum possible score, which elegantly clips the results between 0 and 1, so you can clearly see the relative performance on difficult health scenarios, including emergency referrals and health data tasks.
And business leaders will appreciate this granularity because it enables targeted improvements. If a model is weak on context seeking, say, then investments can be funneled into that specific area, boosting overall productivity and saving lives in the process.
Moreover, evaluating performance by axis gives a true technical insight. For instance, models might score high on accuracy but falter in completeness, demonstrating that even subtle variations can have significant implications when scaling applications in healthcare.
And as a fun aside, it's almost like comparing a gourmet meal to fast food. Accuracy might be the fast, immediate satisfaction, but completeness is the full experience that ensures nutritional value. Both matter, but one can't compensate for the other if underdone.
Love that analogy. It really drives the point home. Now, can you share how HealthBench impacts the current deployment of LLMs in real clinical workflows?
In deployment, these benchmarks serve as a lighthouse. They guide developers in refining models so that, for example, emergency situations are flagged correctly and clinical notes are summarized accurately, directly influencing patient outcomes.
Technically speaking, the evaluation's design, using multi-turn conversations and diverse themes like global health and expertise-tailored communication, ensures that models aren't cherry-picked for easy tasks, but are tested on real-world complexity.
I've seen case studies where hospitals integrated models evaluated on HealthBench into their telehealth systems, resulting in a 15% reduction in diagnostic errors, which is a huge win for patient care and cost containment.
And let's not underestimate the role of the physician cohort. Tapping into insights from doctors across 26 specialties and 60 countries means the rubric covers worldwide clinical practices, making these benchmarks robust against cultural and regional differences.
Incidentally, one unexpected insight is that even physicians writing responses without AI assistance tended to be more concise, but sometimes less comprehensive, suggesting that the integration of AI can actually complement expert judgment by filling in gaps.
Wow, that's fascinating, especially as it blurs the line between human expertise and machine support. Do you see this as paving the way for future collaborative models in healthcare?
Definitely, it's a symbiotic evolution. Patients and clinicians alike could benefit from models that deliver dynamic, detailed responses that are both technically sound and tailored to individual needs.
And from a research perspective, these benchmarks will spur further algorithmic innovations, such as improved chain-of-thought techniques that allow models to self-correct and provide higher reliability under repeated queries.
From the market angle, companies that refine their models using HealthBench can carve out substantial competitive advantages, much like a retail firm that uses data analytics to cut costs and boost efficiency in operations.
Plus, the open-source nature of HealthBench invites collaboration and transparency, encouraging industry players to share insights and push the performance envelope further. A true win-win for innovation in healthcare applications.
I'd just say, while we celebrate these rapid advancements, it's crucial to remain vigilant about the headroom that still exists. Pushing for higher reliability, especially in worst-case scenarios, should remain a priority for both technical and business leaders.
Fantastic insights, everyone. Today's conversation on HealthBench has been like a masterclass in balancing technical depth with strategic business impact, proving once again that in the world of AI, the road ahead is as challenging as it is promising. Welcome back to part 2 of our HealthBench deep dive, where we're unpacking the nuts and bolts of implementation and the robust business applications emerging from these advances.
Let's get technical then. One of the core innovations behind HealthBench is its rubric evaluation system, which assigns point values ranging from -10 to 10 for each criterion. This allows for fine-grained error analysis, much like how quality control systems in automotive manufacturing check each component against rigorous standards.
Right? And on the implementation side, this system uses an ensemble of model-based graders, essentially pipelines that take in a multi-turn conversation, apply chain-of-thought reasoning, and then match the response against physician-annotated rubrics. The grader's decision process mirrors a hierarchical algorithm where initial scoring is refined through multiple passes.
To add to that, the architecture leverages dynamic programming techniques to aggregate scores efficiently. It normalizes the weighted sum of criteria by the maximum attainable points for that example, ensuring that outputs remain on a 0 to 1 scale. This mathematical rigor not only provides clarity, but also enables iterative improvements in model training.
And from the business perspective, This technical underpinning translates into actionable insights. For instance, companies can pinpoint if a model underperforms in completeness, meaning it misses critical context, and invest specifically in data enrichment or targeted fine-tuning.
Exactly. Consider the analogy of a software update in a critical system. Rather than overhauling the entire program, businesses can target the modules where performance lags. This is akin to the 80-20 rule, where roughly 20% of issues account for 80% of errors, guiding strategic investment.
Speaking of strategic investment, let's talk about how these deep technical mechanics affect scaling healthcare solutions. How does this rubric evaluation system enable mass adoption in clinical environments?
At its core, HealthBench's rubric design enables us to simulate real-world clinical dialogues, letting developers incorporate AI into telehealth and electronic medical record systems. By guaranteeing that models behave consistently across critical dimensions, like emergency referrals versus routine inquiries, health systems can roll out AI support with more confidence.
On the technical front, the models are evaluated on worst-at-K reliability, meaning that even in the worst-case scenario, performance doesn't drop off dramatically. This reliability is vital for live deployments, where a single misstep can have serious consequences. The use of statistically robust measures ensures that our models are not just high-performing on average, but are resilient under stress.
And from a technical integration standpoint, companies can embed these evaluated models via APIs that deliver graded responses in near real time. The system dynamically adjusts inference cost by weighing input and output tokens, which is especially useful for budget-sensitive applications in low-resource settings.
In business terms, this adaptability opens up markets for scalable healthcare solutions. For instance, a regional clinic could deploy a cost-effective model like GPT 4.1 Nano, which while being 25 times cheaper, still meets a high standard of care. It's similar to a franchise evolving from boutique services to scalable operations without compromising quality.
I'll add a contrarian note here. While scalability is promising, the nuanced granularity of rubric-based evaluations poses a challenge in standardizing across varied regulatory frameworks. Different countries might require different thresholds for clinical reliability, which speaks directly to the need for globally adaptable yet locally sensitive benchmarks.
That's an insightful point. Balancing the rigor of technical evaluation with local regulatory demands will be key. Can we delve deeper into a couple of concrete technical methods used in achieving these benchmarks?
Certainly, the system employs what we call axis-specific scoring. For each axis, accuracy, completeness, communication quality, context awareness, and instruction following, the algorithm computes an individual score by aggregating only the relevant rubric items. This modular approach is very similar to how composite indicators are formed in economic analyses, where each component is individually normalized and then combined for a holistic view.
To illustrate further, consider the implementation of chain-of-thought reasoning in these models. This is a dynamic process where the model internally sequences its reasoning steps before formulating an answer. In practice, this means the model can self-verify whether it's included all the necessary facts outlined in the rubric. It's a bit like running a diagnostic check in an assembly line process, where each step verifies the previous one.
And technically, this multi-step verification is enabled by extending the inference process to include intermediate tokens that represent thought processes. This internal rehearsal helps in reducing both overconfident yet incomplete answers and improves general robustness, making the model's response as reliable as possible.
On the business application front, this means that healthcare providers can deploy AI systems that are not only cost-effective, but that provide detailed audit trails. Imagine a health app that logs each inference step for compliance or quality control. This transparency is incredibly valuable for risk management and for meeting medical regulatory standards.
Moreover, when you look at the cost-performance frontier, the interplay of these technical innovations means that improvements in inference algorithms directly translate into better returns on investment. A hospital chain, for example, might adopt models that maximize throughput, delivering high-quality results faster, ultimately reducing waiting times and enhancing patient outcomes.
That's fascinating. The idea that deep technical insights can directly boost service quality and cost efficiency. How do these technical strategies compare with traditional methods in healthcare AI?
Traditional methods often relied on multiple-choice assessments or closed-form questions that didn't capture the nuance of a full conversation. HealthBench's open-ended multi-turn conversation evaluation more closely mirrors clinical realities, thereby providing a more relevant benchmark for performance.
Exactly. And where classic models were often overfitted to narrow datasets, this approach embraces diversity by including data from physicians across 60 countries and 26 specialties. The technical infrastructure was designed to handle this heterogeneity through robust normalization and the use of consensus criteria, ensuring that the evaluation is grounded in real-world clinical expertise.
As a technical deep dive, I'd point out that the system leverages a U-statistic approach to estimate worst-case performance, a statistically efficient method that minimizes variance. This is crucial when you're evaluating robustness across thousands of diverse examples.
From the business end, these methodological advancements mean that decision makers are no longer relying on overly optimistic benchmarks. Instead, they see a complete picture that informs product development and market strategy with greater precision. For instance, a pharmaceutical company could use these performance metrics to decide which AI models to integrate into their patient support platforms, thereby enhancing overall care quality while cutting operational costs.
And let me throw in a bit of unexpected perspective. Sometimes, the most effective innovation isn't a breakthrough in algorithm design per se, but rather in how you structure, weight, and interpret complex evaluation metrics. It's a reminder that while deep technical insight is valuable, so is the art of turning those insights into clear, decision-driving numbers.
Absolutely. It's like turning a treasure trove of raw data into a map that navigates both technical and business landscapes. As we wrap up part 2, could each of you share one final thought on how HealthBench is poised to influence the future of AI in healthcare?
I'm optimistic because HealthBench provides a comprehensive, nuanced evaluation mechanism. It will drive the creation of AI systems that are safer, more reliable, and closer to mimicking the subtlety required in real clinical interactions.
From my side, the technical ingenuity behind HealthBench, especially its multi-axis scoring and chain-of-thought implementation, sets a high benchmark that future models will aspire to. It's the golden standard for performance evaluation in dynamic, real-world settings.
Business-wise, these advancements will accelerate the adoption of AI in highly regulated fields like healthcare by ensuring that models can be held accountable and continuously improved, ultimately translating research breakthroughs into better patient care and operational efficiency.
I believe that the fusion of deep technical evaluation with actionable business insights will not only redefine performance metrics in healthcare AI, but also spur new innovations that make high-quality care affordable and globally scalable.
And my final thought is that as we continue to push the boundaries of AI evaluation, benchmarks like HealthBench will be instrumental in bridging the gap between technical excellence and real-world impact, ensuring that both clinicians and business leaders can trust the technology they rely on.
Thanks everyone for this deep, exhaustive discussion. Today's conversation has truly illuminated how technical brilliance and strategic business thinking are converging in the realm of healthcare AI through HealthBench. Stay tuned for more insights on our next episode of AI on AI. As we near the end of our discussion, let's summarize the key highlights. HealthBench is not just a benchmark, but a transformative framework that marries granular technical evaluation with strategic business applications in healthcare AI.
To recap, our deep dive showed how rubric-based scoring, with its -10 to 10-point range per criterion, mirrors quality control standards seen in other industries, ensuring nuanced, real-world relevant evaluations.
And on the technical side, innovations like chain-of-thought reasoning and worst-at-K reliability measures are paving the way for systems that can self-assess and refine responses over multi-turn conversations, a necessity in critical care scenarios.
From an algorithmic perspective, the modular, axis-specific scoring system, which individually normalizes accuracy, completeness, communication quality, context awareness, and instruction following, provides both clarity and a pathway for continuous improvement, much like composite indicators in economics.
Strategically, this methodology empowers business leaders to pinpoint areas needing targeted investments, whether through upgrading model modules or adapting AI systems to meet local regulatory demands, thereby making high-quality healthcare solutions both scalable and cost-effective.
And sometimes the unexpected insight is that the real innovation lies in translating complex evaluation metrics into actionable decisions, bridging technical brilliance with business impact. And this is exactly what HealthBench achieves.
In summary, HealthBench's holistic approach not only sets a new standard for AI evaluation in healthcare by aligning technical rigor with tangible real-world benefits, but also positions both technical teams and business leaders to confidently drive adoption, scalability, and continuous innovation in AI-driven health solutions.
It's exciting to see how a deep calibration of evaluation metrics can lead to AI systems that are safer and more reliable in clinical conversations, ultimately helping clinicians and patients alike.
Indeed, the integration of multi-turn conversation analysis and statistical robustness marks a significant departure from traditional benchmarks, offering a fresh perspective on model reliability and accountability.
And by leveraging dynamic programming and use statistics, HealthBench ensures that even the most challenging scenarios are quantitatively addressed, laying a solid foundation for future breakthroughs in healthcare AI.
For business leaders, this means a clearer roadmap for investing in AI innovations, targeting improvements where they matter most, and reaping benefits in efficiency, cost savings, and quality of patient care.
Ultimately, HealthBench represents a convergence of rigorous technical investigation and smart business strategy. It's a template for how complex systems can yield actionable insights that drive real-world impact.
Thank you all for sharing your insights today. This discussion has illuminated the intricate balance between technical innovation and strategic deployment in healthcare AI. Stay tuned as we continue to explore how such breakthroughs redefine the future of both clinical care and business operations.